Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. I'm also the noob, and it's a Minako Loses It Jam!
Yes, it is! And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 109, Shogeki no Toki, Akasareta Tagai no Shotai in Japanese, the shocking moment, everyone's identities revealed, the English translation, and the English title, No Turning Back.
I guess there's no turning back.
I guess there is.
Minako loses it all right. About 6 or 7 pints of blood.
How is this even possible? I mean, I guess this is taking place over
you guys,
several
I weigh
days.
so little now. I weigh so little now.
I mean, we'll get into it
I guess it does.
Later.
There isn't. It'd be easy for them to go, well, it's another week of school starting, you know, and then like near the end be like, well, that week of school was rough.
Right.
I mean, I was like, you're telling me. Just a strong breeze almost takes her away. Yeah, it's a strange thing, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. You give blood?
I have a couple of times. And the second time it was such a traumatic experience for me.
Some people aren't built for it.
I'm not entirely sure that I am. Like I have veins that are kind of hard to find. And, you know, congratulations to myself. And
shy veins.
Yeah, yes. And I went to, it was a volunteer blood drive, and the people running the blood drive were also volunteers. And this guy was having trouble finding me and my vein and poked at my arm a couple times, but then like went to go get help, but left the needle in my arm. And I was like in pain, and I was like, hello.
That's a tendon. She'd be screaming right now. Go ahead. It's all right. Try again.
Exactly. Yes. That's what it was.
Also, his overhand grip was a little weird, too.
I know. But, I mean, so eventually they got it, but I was so bruised afterwards. And then to make matters worse, I went with a friend of mine who has a heart of gold, who constantly wants... Well...
They're looking for blood.
Yeah, I know. But she always wants to give blood. And she got sick. She threw up all over herself. So I had to take her home and change her clothes. But she, you know, she's like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm like, I might be good. I don't know.
Yeah. You guys have been in the wars.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe someday.
That's a great story.
Circumstances are different. How
Your
about
story
you?
is so great, I don't even have time to tell mine.
Oh, come
I should
on.
give way more than I do, and I have. I have a rare blood type, and I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not too embarrassed to say that when I was in college, I needed money, and I gave plasma.
Right.
Which is a long process, but I have great veins. I would have been a great IV drug user. And I shouldn't joke about it. Yeah.
No.
But I have great veins. No one's ever complained. In and out, no problem. And I gave plasma a lot. It's a cookie. And I've given blood some, but then I got into like this phase, you know, where I was like working out a lot, and I was a little jealous of my red blood cells and everything, and my plasma. I didn't want to give too much away, and I got out of habit, and then I haven't done it in a long time. And I did have a bad experience at one of those portable blood drive type things as well. And I was like, maybe I'm not going to do this, but I should get back into it. It's a good thing to do.
And maybe, I guess, maybe not a portable blood drive if it's like your first time.
Go to the Red Cross if you can.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. And it helps other people. So it's overall, it's a positive thing.
It is. Something else that is positive is me.
Yes.
I'm positive about where we're going.
Yes.
And because I haven't in a while, to keep me honest, I think that we should maybe take a little time before we start for me to talk about where I think we're going.
I think that is a wonderful idea.
In a positive way.
In a positive way.
This might be the longest that you could argue that there has been some shifts, some major-ish shifts. But I think this is the longest that we've gone into a season without a big shift, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're at like the 20th episode or so of this season.
Yeah.
We're over halfway through.
Yeah.
And no real paradigm shifts in terms of like a brand new bad guy. I mean, yes, we lost, of course, Kalanite.
And Chibiusa came.
But is not a big deal. It's just
not
sometimes
right
in
now.
it, sometimes not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know if this is just like because this is the sort of middle chapter of the whole anime story, whether or not they really know where they're going, writing, the next 2 series after this. But so it's like they found a formula and they like it and they're sticking with it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a formula that requires, some kind of revelation or the promise of a revelation 19 times to this point.
Yeah.
And no revelation has been given each time. And so it starts to feel like, all right, well, is anybody a talisman?
Right.
But as far as where I think we're going, Chibi's a talisman.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Why did they bring her back? She is here to be in the way. She is here to be a target. Her heart is one of the talismans.
Okay.
If time travel didn't exist, would they have to wait around for 1,000 years to get the Holy Grail? I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe silence couldn't have been stopped. We don't understand the power that we're up against here.
No, we don't.
Which is another thing. We would have totally had a big info drop at some point here, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And we still don't know. It's still waiting in the wings. So that's why it's so hard for me to say, where I think things are going.
Right.
I'm going to cheat a little because I have already watched this episode.
Yes.
Which has a tiny info drop. Dump.
Dump. I think you could say either.
Dump, big volume. A drop, very small volume. It's an info drop.
Okay, you're right.
About possibly who the nature of the antagonists in this case. And so, yeah, all of my information is stuff that I shouldn't know. So obviously, we will find at some point, a person who is theoretically on my part, Sailor Saturn, or the person who will become Sailor Saturn.
Sure.
And they mentioned in this episode that there's a shadowy figure blocking their view of the Grail.
Yes.
And Dr. G almost offhandedly says like, "Oh yeah, that's the person that can like use the Grail or whatever." It's like, what? So are they looking for this person or for the Grail?
They're looking for.
Well, no, you don't have to say anything. This is my segment.
Fair.
So I don't know if we're looking for the person or the Grail. If the person's heart will be one of the hearts. Or what? And I'm going to say, let's see, that's two senshi out of 3 if you count Chibi as a senshi, and I do. Mm-hmm. So is the third person also a senshi? That'd be 3 senshi down. Mm-hmm. It got really quiet. Michiru outside.
It did.
They're working on the street outside.
Yes.
Michiru, sadly.
Uh-huh. Wow, Cal, watch it.
at this point in the story, also has no real reason to be here. So I bet she's number 3. That's my 3 senshi pick.
Okay.
My Big Bang Boom.
All right.
As far as Big Bang Boom goes, you've got a red, you've got a green, and you've got a pink. The 3 additive colors for lighting. The 3 additive what I can't remember what they're called. They're not pigments. They're when you're using the cyan, the green, and the
red. I know what you're talking about. Like the colors
on TV,
on
pixels,
TV.
old timey TV.
Yeah, right.
And I think in pixels as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if that's enough. For, if that counts as me saying what I think is going to happen.
I think it does.
Because I mean, like. At this point, unless, something kind of big happens in this episode, I guess, but like, unless the circumstances change, all we've got is, will the Earth be destroyed or not? I'm going to guess the Earth will not be destroyed.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess it doesn't. Do the good guys or the bad guys get the Holy Grail, or the person who can control the Holy Grail? And the answer is, the bad guys will get her first, and then the good guys will get her back. That's all I got.
I mean, I understand because, like you
said... Will
said...
Minako ever find love?
That's what I want to know.
Who can say?
Yeah, well...
Will she ever buy Artemis the wet food? Who can say?
Who can say? Poor Artemis. I feel bad for Artemis, but we'll talk about
we
that
can't know
a little later.
There's no way to know.
It's really hard, like you said. And I understand, like, what you're saying all makes sense. Like, just the way that the season has been going, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen next, especially since there hasn't been a dump, an info dump.
Or enough drops.
Yeah, right.
You can trade it in for a dump.
Sure. Okay, some sailor drops. There we go.
Sailor dumps.
Oh, no.
Hold on.
No.
I gotta sign up for a Tumblr real quick.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's just little rainbow poo emojis all the way down.
What rhymes with drops?
Pops?
My pops. My lovely sailor drops. I'm trying to come up with a commercial that would have saved sailor drops when it existed.
Oh, yeah. My hero. Several years later.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I saw somebody else in the wild say something about Sailor Drops the other day. So it isn't just you.
I know it's not. I see the art every
But
once
I didn't
in a
know
while.
until I saw that. You're the only person I've ever heard talk about Sailor Drops.
Like just in the vacuum. It's just Mika. All right. All right. Well, we don't live in a vacuum. So why don't you...
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. We're out in the wild and we are going to... break down this episode. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Cal.
Yeah. Break down, wrong choice of words,
all
because this is pretty much me just reading the script of the episode. Like, a lot goes on, and there's a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot that needs to be described. So I'll try to make this shorter than the episode itself, but got my work cut out for me.
Jam-packed.
You got to let some of the blood out of this.
Okay.
Well, we open on a ringing phone, and it's the phone in the basement lab.
Yes.
It keeps ringing and ringing. Finally, the light comes on. Dr. Giggles picks up. On the other end is Eudial, and she says, something odd has happened. The shadow of a person is blocking the data on the Holy Grail. Mm-hmm. Or at least that's what this window on my Macintosh is telling me.
Right.
There's a little bomb with a fuse lit on it. And Dr. G says, I thought so. It's the one that can use the Holy Grail. Uh-huh. And he tells a little story. And as he does, we see a vision of a shadowy figure that looks like a World of Warcraft boss. Something like that. It's a Lich King. And Dr. G says, if one of our allies, they're on the Lich King side, if one of our allies were to obtain the Holy Grail, we'd be able to create the world of darkness we desire. And we see a vision of a wave of darkness starting in Tokyo and engulfing the entire Earth. But, he continues, if our enemies get it, our plans would be destroyed. And we see, like, a Lisa Frank-looking fairy creature holding a ball of light. And he says, we must do whatever we can to get it first. And he grips the phone so tight that it shatters.
I know.
And Eudial says, we have to find it first. Oh, and you broke the phone, didn't you? Uh-huh. She's the IT person. Uh-huh. She says, I'll be deducting the cost from your pay. Wait, she pays him? Who's in charge of Deathbuster HQ?
I don't understand the HR org chart here.
I guess they're all part of an organization.
I guess I always assumed he was her boss.
She's sending out, but she's accounts payable. So,
I guess.
Or receivable.
Sure.
Both. It's a small department.
It is.
Dr. G says, the Sailor Guardians will pay for this. Uh-huh. The whole thing. The phone too.
Yeah.
In a way. We catch up with the girls at Hikawa Shrine. They're taking a practice test for their high school test. And Usagi says, I'm done. And she did it in record time. And she's ecstatic. But Ami says, excuse me, your calculations are wrong here. This is the correct answer. And Usagi's like, what? Like a Peanuts character. Why?
Yes.
Minako takes pity on her and says, you're doing your best. But Rei says, stop crying all the time. And Mako says, you'll get it right next time. But Usagi says, I'm probably going to get something else wrong next time. Why must I suffer so? She's going full Dawn music here.
Yeah, she really is.
Rei says, suffering? Remember the time when you had your heart crystal stolen? Studying is nothing compared to that. Usagi's like, I guess you're right. That was as bad as trying to drink a whole bottle of water all at once, and then eating 10 rice balls. It's very specific.
It is very specific.
There's got to be a story there. Is it like the love juice? Remember when she drank the love juice?
Yes, I do.
Well, careful. That's a tough Google.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of love juice, tough Google, I have a correction. Last episode, I said that they never have puke in a kid's cartoon. But Usagi kind of pukes at the end of episode 65 when she's drinking all the love juice potion.
That's true.
To get Mamo back, and then she spits it up on Ray while they're at Pizza Coffee.
Yes.
So I take it back.
Coffee.
I take it back. There was kind of puke. There was regurgitation in this kid's cartoon.
Yes.
Well, the sailors start trading stories about how tough it was to get their heart crystals ripped out. We see that Minako has kind of a weird look on her face.
Uh-huh.
We cut to later on a playground. We see her sitting on a swing that's way too small for her, like her butt is scraping the ground.
Yeah.
Artemis comes up and says, "Hey, what's wrong?" Amina says, "Why hasn't the enemy targeted me? All the other girls have had their hearts stolen." And Artemis says, "Maybe it's because you're not pure?" And Minako fixes him with this look.
Yes.
And he's like, "No, that's not it." And she's like, "I know, right?" She says, "I quit volleyball even though I love it. Maybe I lack focus." And Artemis says, "Does it bother you?" And she's like, "No, not really." We can tell she kind of minds.
Uh-huh.
And the swing is a great visual metaphor because she's too big. She's almost a woman. She's trying to fit still into this girl's world. She wants to be seen as innocent and pure, but it's that world that she's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Nice stuff.
It is nice stuff.
Nice stuff, show. We cut to her smacking the volleyball around at her school gym. A little of the old dig and flip, getting her frustrations out. And some good shots here. Shades of a sports anime.
Yes.
And she's exhausted, but a little more relaxed. And she looks towards the door, and she sees Usagi laid out on her face. Volleyballs all around her.
Uh-huh.
And Mina runs up like, "I'm sorry, did it hit you?" And Usagi gets up. She has bruises on her face. She's missing a tooth. And she's like, "I'm fine. Are you all right?" And Mina's like, what do you mean?" And we see that the cats are behind Usagi, and they look guilty.
Uh-huh.
Minako says, my comment about the demons not coming after me. Oh, I was joking. But everything turns dark. And she thinks, "I can't accept that I'm the only one without a pure heart." We cut to an arcade where Minako is playing a crane game, and Usagi is still looking at her askance. Mm-hmm. "Stop looking at my askance." Usagi says, "So it really doesn't bother you?" And Mina says, "No." And Luna says, "Yeah, Artemis is probably overthinking it." And Usagi says, "Yeah, Minako would never be bothered by that." And there's another great shot where she says that to the cats, and then she leans back over and goes behind Minako's head. But as she comes into view, Minako's face is like, "How am I not pure-hearted enough?" And Usagi's face is like, "Jeez." Minako says, "Our enemy is pretty dumb if they can't see how pure I am." And Usagi's like, "Hello, you in there? Hello?" And Luna's like, "Don't try to get your heart stolen on purpose." And Usagi's like, "No!" She grabs Minako. She's just shaking her like a paint can. "Don't do that. It's a bad idea."
God.
She starts banging Mina's head against the crane game. "Don't do it." Mina says, "If they take my heart, I'll get it back myself." And Usagi starts shaking her harder. "That's ridiculous. Don't do it. I'm begging you." And as she shakes her, Mina's hands keep hitting the buttons of the crane game.
Yes.
And the crane comes up with a whole wad of creepy dolls.
I know.
Cut to the girls and the cats walking down the street, and Luna says, "Minako, Usagi is single-minded in her love for Mamoru. Also eating and oversleeping. Hating studying. Oh, loving slacking off. But that's not pure-hearted. That's just being an idiot." And Usagi's like, "Thanks, asshole."
Yeah, no kidding.
Artemis says, "The enemy just hasn't seen how pure-hearted you are yet." Careful, Artemis. Tread very carefully on those little kitty paws there. As we pull out of this little vignette, we see that Minako is carrying like a whole sack full of these dolls that they won. And she says, "I'm not bothered by all that." She stops walking. She turns to Usagi and says, "Can I ask you a favor?" And Usagi says, "Okay." And Mina says, "Could you take half of these dolls?" And Usagi's like, I don't really want to." Cut to a bookshop, and Minako is looking through the stacks for books on being more pure. Mm-hmm. And Usagi and the cats are spying on her through the shop door, thinking, we'll just leave her alone for a little bit.
Just give her a minute.
Luna says, "She won't do anything rash." And Artemis says, "Are you sure about that?"
I know. I know.
Mina is reading a book called Guide to a Pure Heart. And she reads a passage, "A pure heart is about one's single-minded devotion." Usagi is single-minded about a lot of things. But I'm a cat lady. No, she says, I like to think things through first. Does that make me more mature? And her reverie is broken by a, hey! And she turns to see Haruka and Michiru also shopping for books. Probably in the trader section. Is there a section for betrayal? Was it by self-help? But they are stopped dead, when they see the title of the book that she's looking at.
Yes.
Minako looks right at them. She asks them, what do you think a pure heart is? And they're like, do we have to kill this girl right now? What?
Yeah.
And Minako says, are there any examples of how a pure-hearted person acts? And the older girls are like, thumb easing back, hammer of gun in purse. Taking the time to help others, says Michiru. Minako gets a gleam in her eye. Helping others, eh? Just then, a white car drives by with a loudspeaker. But wait, it's just a car advertising a blood drive.
Yes.
Very similar, for good reasons, to the Ectomobile. But regular car.
Yes.
Haruka's like, you could give blood. Minako flies out of the store. Michiru and Haruka are like, that was close, but that kind of single-mindedness is dangerous. Let's walk off ironically ignorant as our theme plays. Okay.
Yeah.
And they do, but record scratch?
Yes.
Excuse me. Mina sticks her head back in. Please accept these as thanks. And she puts a creepy doll in each of their hands.
I know.
And they hold them out and they're both like, we don't want these.
I know.
Minako runs to the bloodmobile, chanting, give blood, give blood, give blood, the entire way. She's somehow not arrested. She tells the guy at the desk, just take as much as you want.
Yeah.
And she runs into the bloodmobile, and he shrugs and pulls a water cooler bottle from under his desk. Back at Deathbusters HQ, Dr. G is on the phone, and he asks Eudial if she's found the new target. She says yes, but she fears that the Sailor Guardians will interfere. He says he'll make a special daemon for that.
Yes.
We see him trying to stuff a door, like a house door, into the evil microwave.
Yeah.
And eventually he just saws the doorknob out and he settles on that.
Yeah.
Back on the street, Minako was drinking orange juice and heading to, I think, a different blood donation place.
Yeah.
She's going to hit them all in town.
Yeah.
She says, I'm Minako Aino, and I'm giving blood. I don't look it, but I'm 18. Oh, I'm being helpful to others. I'm pure. Too pure. Yeah, maybe you're just lightheaded from all the blood loss.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's a big part of it. Also, she's lying about her age, so that's cool.
On another playground, interesting, a lot of action on playgrounds.
Yes.
Usagi is telling Mamoru about Mina's problem. She lies about her age. She's giving blood every day. And Mamoru is like, why am I involved in this? We should guard her in case of an attack. Also, we should probably get her lots of cookies. Give blood, give blood, give blood. The cats and Ami, Rei, and Mako watch Mina head to another blood drive place, and they debate, should we stop her? If her heart is pure, she'll be a target. Or it's already pure and she's in danger anyway. Only Artemis, for once, has the sense to ask, does giving blood to prove you're a good person make you a good person?
Yeah.
And before anybody can answer, Usagi comes running up to Minako with a bunch of vitamin A and vitamin C supplements. Minako gulps one down and is like,
yes.
And everybody's like, she's pure. Yeah, she's got to be pure. I'm sure. Yeah, she's probably pure. Minako is ready to go to the next blood place, but before she can down another vitamin supplement, Eudial snipes her heart crystal from the window of her ectomobile. Yes. 360 no scope. Minako was frozen mid-swig. Everyone is shocked, even Haruka and Michiru, who have been watching from behind a tree.
Yeah. I know.
Usagi, the show is just like, they're there.
Yeah.
Usagi runs to her aid, but before she can get there, Minako lurches forward and seizes her own heart.
I know.
A psycho-type theme starts playing. Nice touch.
Yes.
She spins around, giggling. A pure heart.
I know.
And Usagi's like, that's great. Let's get that back in your chest.
Yes.
But Minako's like, she just runs off. And Eudial's like, no way! And peels off after her. Usagi's in hot pursuit, and Artemis slips on a supplement bottle, tripping everyone else for plot reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Minako runs into an underground parking garage like, my precious!
Exactly.
And Eudial comes barreling in after her. Eudial gets out of her car and sees that Mina has collapsed and says, such willpower, before moving to take her heart. But Usagi arrives and yells, stop! Eudial says, come forth, demon! And out of the back of the star car steps Doorknobber!
Yeah.
I don't think that means what you think it means in certain places. But we'll get back to that. Eudial says, close the doors! Lock the gates! And Doorknobber bounces around to every aperture, every point of egress and ingress into the underground basement, sealing them inside. But right before the big door closes, we see Haruka and Michiru slip in. Mm-hmm. Eudial sees them too and says, well, if you two had minded your own business, you'd have lived. Mm-hmm. Usagi's torn because she knows there's no way to transform secretly. Because that matters now.
Yeah, right.
And Haruka and Kiki's delivery service, Michiru has like his red bow on, like Kiki for some reason. I
know. Her hair, she's wearing an updo with a big red bow.
Haruka and Michiru know that the same applies to them. But just as Eudial is about to take hold of Minako's heart, Usagi yells, halt! And produces her brooch. Uh-huh. Moon cosmic power, make up! She becomes Sailor Moon. Everyone is shocked. And she says, I want to cherish pure hearts. How dare you go after a girl's pure feelings? In the name of the moon, I'll punish you.
I feel like she holds it almost like it's like a police badge, you know, like stop in the name of love.
This is a moment
my brooch.
of pride.
Yeah.
She's telling us who she is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes.
She's not hiding anymore.
She's not hiding anymore. I feel like there should be a song about not hiding anymore if it goes right here.
Lady Gaga probably sang it.
Probably.
I think so. Eudial says, Doorknobber, kill her. And Doorknobber's like, I just lock doors. I'm not good at fighting.
I know.
And Eudial's like, get them. And Doorknobber says, Doorknob reluctantly, as she charges at Sailor Moon, leaps on top of her, and kind of smacks her with her door arm, like,
yes.
And she's like, oh, stop doing that. Eudial once again is about to take hold of the heart crystal, but her hands are knocked aside by a creepy doll thrown by Michiru, who says, we can't let you have that. Eudial says, Doorknobber, get these two. Doorknobber says, reluctantly. But a second creepy doll knocks her from the air as Neptune and Uranus planet power give us sailors Neptune and Uranus.
Yes.
Usagi's like, what?
I know.
And Eudial's like, I'm locked in with 3 Sailor Guardians? What? Uranus fires world shaking at Eudial and blows her out of her lab coat. Michiru goes for Minako's heart, but Usagi says, wait, stop. Michiru grabs it, but says, this isn't a talisman. Mm-hmm. And from outside we hear, burning mandala and sparkling light pressure. And shine up all I guess. What's that going to do?
I know. I'm like, okay,
this door doesn't know where it is.
You showed up. That's great. The door's confused now.
Yes, the outside door begins to quake under their attacks. Eudial's like, oh, come on. Doorknobber, get them all. But a deep submerge stops Doorknobber in her tracks, and Neptune says, now, Sailor Moon. But Doorknobber says, take her out first, pointing at Eudial.
I know.
And as Sailor Moon winds up the moon spiral heart attack, Eudial starts rummaging around in her car.
Yes.
Witches! Eudial! She pulls out a fire, a strange device, Buster!
Yes.
A gun that counters the MSHA with a gout of flames.
Yes.
The room is engulfed with energy, and Doorknobber takes 1 second to peek out from behind her door, and lovely, she's gone.
Yes.
As are the barriers she erected.
Uh-huh.
She died somehow.
I love too how the little daemon egg, it takes a second for it to come out of the doorknob for whatever reason. It's a little longer. You're like, oh, there it goes. All right. And she's gone.
And I am also dead.
Yes.
The Sailor Senshi charge in, but Eudial says, hold it right there. Looks like your special attack was defeated by my Firebuster. Now everybody up against the wall or I French fry this little psycho.
Oh my God.
Once all the sailors are together, she's like, I'll take you all out at the same time. Uh-huh. And as she begins to pull the trigger, she is inundated by an avalanche of creepy dolls.
Yes.
Thank God for that crane machine, the real hero. Venus Star Power, makeup. Eudial is like, you're all Sailor Guardians. And to answer that question, Venus shoots a Venus Love Me chain straight through her Firebuster, rendering it useless.
Yes.
Eudial is out of here, yelling, I saw your secret identities. And also, I'm backing up.
Safety first.
Neptune and Uranus just try to leave, but Usagi says, wait, why must you obtain all the talismans? And they say, none of your business. It's best you not get involved.
Uh-huh.
And they leave.
Uh-huh.
The sailors cannot believe that Haruka and Michiru are Neptune and Uranus, and that they might be their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune and Uranus, elsewhere, also can't believe that their secrets are out. Haruka thinks it was careless they transformed, but Michiru says, if we didn't, we wouldn't have gotten out of there. And besides, I wanted to help them. Mm-hmm. The end. It ends. Just right there. It's over.
It's done.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
It just stops right there.
We got more story, but not today. So, yeah. So much happens in this episode, though, and like you said, like this is...
Well, it's sponsored by the Red Cross, first of all. And the Red Crescent.
Right.
And what would Japan have? The Red Torii?
No, I mean, it's the Japanese Red Cross, so...
Okay. I guess maybe we'll talk about it later, but... yeah, so, good thing I got some of that, what I think is going to happen in early.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know who the Lich King or Lisa Frank is. I still don't understand about the Grail, that it'll either stop the darkness or maybe it'll create too much lightness. Too much lightness. Everybody's blind.
Yeah, right.
You don't want that.
You don't want to be blinded by the light. So, yeah.
I kind of like the idea that it's kind of... This is okay. All right. I'm really happy. I mean, like, this is prime Minako for me. Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for in a Minako episode. Because she's not, I complain. You have also complained at times about her kind of outsider status. They deal with it in a totally different way in the live action show.
They do.
Which we talk about on our Patreon at patreon.com/other Noob. But in this, I mean, yeah, I think that if you want to criticize her as sometimes being a Usagi also ran, even though the reverse is kind of true.
Yeah.
That's valid. But the fact that she sort of stands outside of the archetypes that the other girls fill means that we can do fun stuff with her.
Yeah. And
I love her doing this Tom Sawyer, I'm going to go to my own funeral type thing where she's like, what's it? It's been a long time since I've read Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn, but is it Tom Sawyer where they're going to rescue Jim or I think it's Jim, somebody. And like, all they have to do is just like, well, the guard like gets drunk. And so we'll just take the key out of his pocket. And Tom's like, hold on. First of all, that's not nearly exciting enough. So we're going to need to you're going to have to set up a trap, and then we're going to go over here, and then we all have to hide under this bush, but we're going to run out. And then we have to climb in through the window because that's better. It makes the plan so convoluted. And so in the middle of it, they're all like, what part are we doing again? Just go get the key. I love the fact that she's just making this so complicated because she doesn't feel like... She feels like she's owed something here.
Yeah.
It's like, why aren't these guys attacking me?
Yeah.
Come on. Look at all of this. All of this. They don't want this.
I'm so pure. What don't they see? How can they not get that?
Yeah. And when she goes, zombie or psycho, it's just really great. It reminds, there's a part where she flips forward and grabs the thing that reminds me of the giant Ray from End of Evangelion.
Okay.
Where the giant naked Ray grabs Unit 1, and she's like, it looks like a little star.
Yes.
Only I would get something like that.
Well,
but check it out.
I'm sure other people would see that too. I mean, it's very creepy, and I think it's unexpected too, because we haven't seen anybody who got their pure heart stolen react this way. And is it her strength of will? Is it just willpower? Because we speculated very early on that people were just like, oh, you're dead. Right. Like your heart is your life and you're dead. Uh-huh. But it became clear later that it's like, well, you're sort of like, in a coma or something like that. Right. So is it willpower, or is it like the ginseng in those drinks that she gave her? Great question. Is it her athleticism combined with her insane willpower combined with the lack of blood in her body combined with the lethal amounts of vitamin A and C in her from these off-market supplements? Probably. So this once-in-a-lifetime thing that she can just run around with her heart in her hands. I know. Well, then also, like, on top of that, she recovers really quickly, too.
Yeah, well, she has to.
Because,
Yeah.
so, and, like, yeah, it's amazing. I think even out of context, this is funny, you know, but it's even funnier knowing, like, what the situation is and that she's so pissed that, like, she's not a pure heart or she doesn't have one and she's, like, obsessed with it. And I also think that, like, Artemis doesn't get enough credit for knowing her as well as he does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Luna, like, is like, oh, he's worrying too much, or he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Artemis is Mr. Manager.
He is.
He manages Minako.
Yes.
And so we keep him around because Minako is a loose cannon.
She is.
And she'll do this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we need an Artemis to go like, so like, now what? Like, what do can we put out some treats like E.T. and lead her back into the clubhouse here? What do we do?
But the problem is you have to pay attention.
But he just kind of watches everything happen in this episode. He's just like, let's wait it out.
I know. He should have stuck up more and like been like, no, really. This is what's going on.
What impresses me is that Usagi is the emotionally intelligent one in this.
I know.
Because, and this is another, I don't like that we're repeating the beat from the volleyball episode, but I think the show knows what it's doing because it calls that out immediately, but then it immediately cuts it down. So we have this very emotional episode where Minako is, you know, looking at her life. She's having a mid-teenage crisis.
Yes.
Where she's looking at her life and like trying to decide if she's making the right choices. And a lot of it's kind of somber. And it involves the volleyball and her skill at it. And they kind of do that again, but this is like, but what if funny though? What if it was just like funny and consequenceless and she's running around laughing like a maniac holding her own heart in her hands?
Yeah.
And forget the sleeve. She's got it in her hands. And they even include the volleyball and like undercut the seriousness that we associate with that by having Usagi be like, oh, this was Tweety Birds.
And can I just say the voice actress did a really great job too, because like she really talked like she was like missing a tooth and like and everything. And I loved too how they decided to animate her like her face had gotten hit with like 3 volleyballs.
Yeah, she's got just welts all over her face.
Yeah, and like Minako didn't notice like at all until she didn't have any more volleyballs.
Yeah. And like they could have drawn that funny, but they just let us imagine that, and it was just as funny, if not funnier.
Yeah.
And then seeing a young girl be brutally assaulted by volleyballs.
I know.
But she's you know, as Minako is saying like, fine. Usagi's the one that's like, she's not fine. I gotta go talk to her. And she didn't need Luna to go, you should go talk to her. Or like have Mamoru say, is she okay? Like Usagi's the one who goes and talks to her. And then even after she says like, no, I'm fine again, she's still like, she doesn't have the skills to like get her into a dialogue. She's, I'm going to stare at you awkwardly while you play a crane game.
Yeah.
But she's there though, because she knows that her friend needs her right now.
Yes. And I love it how Minako says, can you please take some of these? And Usagi is like, I don't really want to.
Why did we play this game?
Yeah, right.
These prizes are terrible.
I don't know. It's almost like Minako was like so pissed she wasn't even paying attention or didn't even care what game she was playing.
I've been there.
Yeah, right.
I've been there.
And maybe she was like, I'm not going to win anyway, so why does it matter? You know, she was so pissed.
So negative.
But these... the dolls on their fans, the one at the very end when she gets the bunch of them, the very last one on the fan, it says good luck. And I think that all of the fans say various variations of luck. And I was trying to figure out, obviously the dolls aren't very cute. Oh. And nobody, they're very ugly. Yeah. And nobody really wants them. And I was trying to figure out like what they are supposed to be and what the significance is. And I couldn't really find anything. It kind of reminded me of, like, it almost looks like it's Chinese or something like that. Like, for some reason, I was thinking, like it was just like a good luck charm, but it wasn't very cute. Like, it's not like a Maneki Neko or anything very cute that's a good luck charm. So it was just like, why would anybody want it? It's like the ugliest... crane game prize at the arcade, and she's got an entire bag full of them. So they just become the perfect projectile weapon later, And I love that even Haruka is like, I don't want this, And
right.
it's like...
Right. Well, they are weird. There must be some significance that we couldn't find. But the significance in the story is that the specific problem here is that Mina doesn't feel like maybe it's just vanity, but let's look at the good side of the coin. She feels like maybe she's insecure. She's not living up. She's not an important part of the team.
Right.
And those dolls only exist because of her presence in this story. Mm-hmm. One saves her, from her heart being stolen.
Yes.
One defeats a monster, and all of them defeat the big bad at the end.
Yes.
And they only are there because of her presence.
Right.
If she had not been as emotional as she was, and if Usagi had not been as attentive to her emotional state as she was, there would be no dolls to throw in this story. Mm-hmm. There would just be a newspaper story the next day about 3 dead women in a garage.
Oh my gosh.
Or 4.
Yeah.
Well, no, Haruka's making it out of there. 4 dead women, one of them is a redhead.
Oh my god.
And a weird Ghostbusters. It's a cosplay gone wrong.
Oh boy, I can see the headline now.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, all right, I see it now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Especially with the Firebuster.
Yeah.
It's like a total it's a real speaking of real, it's a real Ghostbusters kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got a very Ghostbusters feel to it.
But not just like the toys, like the real Ghostbusters, the television show, The Real Ghostbusters.
I see.
Which you have pointed out in the past was a Deke show, and was Saban was involved in that as well, and it came out in the mid-'80s.
Yes.
So that would already exist when they're creating Sailor Moon.
Yes.
So not just like the proton packs from the movies, but all the goofy things that they came up with for the cartoon show, the slime guns and the trap shooters and things like that. Like, this looks like something that a blonde, bouffanted Egon would pull out, to stop the Ghost of the Week.
Right, and it's animated by a Japanese animation studio, so yeah. And you mentioned earlier too that this is the 20th episode of Sailor Moon S, and there's a total of 38 episodes, so this is slightly more than halfway through.
Right.
Yeah. So it's it feels weird. To be this far into an arc. And I mean, this is obviously this episode, I feel like it is a big turning point. But it feels weird to be this far in without any big changes besides, of course, like we mentioned, Chibiusa and oh my gosh, the other redhead who we talked about earlier, and now I can't remember her name already. Kaolinite, yeah. Dying or not being present anymore. So
yeah, well, we got a Tom Sawyer it.
Yeah,
that's what we got to do. We got to make it more complicated.
Yes,
we got to throw some curveballs in here,
or some creepy dolls.
So I'll start painting this fence.
Okay,
and then you get this frog to start jumping, and
okay.
We'll see how far we can go with this.
All right, I'll get somebody to attack my pure heart.
Yeah, get us some what? Get us what?
I'm gonna be Minako. I'm gonna get somebody to attack my pure heart.
All right, I'll keep doing the premise of my bit, which is I'm going to be wearing some overalls and have a straw hat on, and then you'll just be standing there like, I'm no part of this.
Come on.
Not getting on a riverboat with you, I'll tell you that much. How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin.
Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I believe it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Dean Gray.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Oh, wow.
Just Enough Trope News, reviews, and geek fondue every Monday on the Just Enough Trope Podcast Network.
Loving me never have a say you so sorry.
What?
Today for Kyoro Kyoro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. We're going to talk about the Japanese Red Cross Society and blood donation in Japan. So the Japanese Red Cross Society, or Nippon Sekiju Jisha, is the Japanese affiliate of the International Red Cross. So Count Sano Tsunetami founded the Philanthropic Society, a relief organization for the injured of the Satsuma Rebellion of 1877, and its name was changed to the Japanese Red Cross Society, or JRCS, on September 2nd, 1887, following Japan's admission to the International Committee of the Red Cross.
This is I want to point out the Satsuma Rebellion is what the Last Samurai was very loosely based on.
Yeah, it was a revolt of disaffected samurai against the new imperial government 9 years into the Meiji.
You're like, I don't want to wear a tie.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
screw
it was
this.
deeper than that, but
oh yeah, right.
And it's something
More
that's been
complicated.
romanticized a lot as well, because they were, sure, some of them maybe were about thinking about honor and thinking about like wanting to retain their Japanese identity, but
Sure.
they also like weren't getting the piece of the pie that they used to. They were seeing that the way that Japanese was or Japan was becoming corporatized and Western imperialized, and they're like, hey, what about me?
I used to get a bigger...
No, I'm not going to give all my swords up and forget that.
Yeah.
You can't have my lands.
Right.
But when
this
you
is stupid.
put Ken Watanabe in there, then you're like, oh, okay, well, we need that. Yeah, this are the good guys.
Right. And of course, it's definitely more complicated than that. But yeah, and later in 1887, the society engaged in its first disaster relief after the eruption of Mount Bandai. And, like the Red Cross here, they do a lot of disaster relief. And from the beginning, the Japanese imperial family, especially Empress Shoken, who was the wife and advisor of Emperor Meiji, provided active support for the Red Cross. The Empress was actually the honorary president for many years, and other imperial family members were vice presidents. The attendance of the imperial family made membership in the society socially attractive to members of the upper class. And by the start of the Russo-Japanese War, which 1904 to 1905, the Japanese Red Cross Society was the largest in the world with over 1 million members.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, so pretty early on, they had a lot of members, largely because the imperial family was involved. The JRCS played a large role in ensuring that many of the Russian prisoners of the war were treated really well, and this gained Japan a considerable amount of good public relations in the Western press. This image was cultivated by the hosting of volunteer nurses and medical staff from the United States, France, Germany, and Great Britain. And after the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the JRCS collected $146,000 for the American relief effort, which was the first overseas operation by the society. So probably took a lot longer to get there back in those days, but that happened. And in September 1914, during World War I, by the request of the Imperial Japanese Army, the JRCS put together 3 squads, each made up of 1 surgeon and 20 nurses, who were sent to Europe on a 5-month assignment. The teams left Japan towards the end of 1914 and were assigned to Petrograd, Paris, and Southampton. The arrival of these nurses received wide press coverage, and their host countries asked for the teams to extend their assignment to 15 months. Meanwhile, within Japan, German prisoners of war who had been captured at the Battle of Qingdao were treated fairly well with the help of the JRCS. So they kind of stepped in and made sure they were treated well.
This, we've talked before. Oh boy. Okay. So I don't want to disparage their charity here, but we talked before about the Japanese mindset about like charity. And of course, they were a country who isolated themselves, for a long time. A country, I say, since their kind of unification, that isolated themselves for a long time.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're like, oh, we're going to send like a ton of people out here for this war that we're just not really even involved in, but medical aid. And that's just so admirable. I have to imagine that there was something of a PR aspect to it. Like,
there definitely
no, move aside. I got a bandage. We're here now. We're here, everybody.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
no, that definitely was a big part of it. It was a huge thing that happened, and like people were like, oh my gosh, this is so helpful, and people knew about it and they heard about it, and so it's definitely word of mouth, and like, wow, the JRCS is out here and they're really
except for the Russos. The Russos are like, don't like that.
Probably
not going to be in my Marvel movie.
Yeah, right.
What are we talking about?
Exactly. And after World War II, the JRCS was reformed under American advisors because we had to do that.
That's
with
the
everything.
Next step. It's like, we did it. We got everybody to notice us, and we got taken over by something else. It's like starting an internet company, where you you market umbrellas to dogs or whatever, and you go, all we need is to like reach a certain point, and then some other company, pet.com, is going to come in and like buy us out, and then we did it. We did it.
We can retire.
Time to
everybody.
retire. Yeah.
I know. I mean, because they helped a lot of Japanese people out during World War II, but they weren't, not so great to prisoners of war during World War II.
Where's the Red Cross then?
I don't think they really had much power to step in at that point.
Yeah.
So anyways,
right.
The Japanese Red Cross Society's headquarters are located in Tokyo, and local chapters are set up in all 47 prefectures. 9,610,000 individual and 120,000 corporate members belong to the society, which operates 92 Red Cross hospitals and 79 blood centers all over the country. The JRCS is the only organization in Japan that collects blood utilized in transfusions, which I think is really interesting. In 1952, the JRCS Tokyo Blood Bank was established and the blood donation program started. At the time, the concept of uncompensated blood donations was rare, and instead, paid blood donations started by private blood banks were very common. So donors were also placed on a list with a priority for future blood transfusions. So another perk to try to get you to donate blood was like, if you ever need a transfusion in the future, you're going to be on this priority list. So, yeah.
Well, incentives are good.
Yeah. In 1964, the Cabinet of Japan which is one of the governing bodies, chose to encourage blood donations instead of blood sales and deposits, and this assisted the rapid growth of JRCS's blood program. In the 1980s, however, the Japanese HIV tainted blood scandal occurred. Between 1 and 2,000 hemophilia patients in Japan contracted HIV via tainted blood products.
Yeah.
This controversy centered on the continued use, and I want to emphasize that, continued use of non-heated treated blood products after the development of heat treatments that prevented the spread of infection. Some high-ranking officials in the Ministry of Health and Welfare, executives of the manufacturing company, and a leading doctor in the field of hemophilia study were charged for involuntary manslaughter. I'm not sure, like, some of the charges I think were eventually dropped. I'm not sure how this all shaked out, but this was really bad.
Yeah.
Understandably. And
most major countries had a scandal like this.
Sure.
We had one. The UK had one. That I know of. It's just something that we didn't realize about the blood supply.
But
I'm not saying that there wasn't negligence involved or that punishments shouldn't have been handed out, but this did take people by surprise.
There was negligence, but so I guess like as early as 1983, the Japanese government was contacted by a company from the U.S. that had our products are heat treat blood and they're approved by the FDA, and they wanted to sell their products in Japan. And so they approached the government and were asking them about that. Now, this is a very Japanese thing that I'm going to talk about here for a second.
Okay.
A lot of companies in Japan don't, and this isn't maybe not specifically just a Japanese thing, but they don't want other companies outside of Japan coming in selling products in Japan if they're not given, they can't try to compete.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but when people's lives are at stake, maybe that shouldn't really be the focus.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically they put it on hold because they're like, well, we're going to wait and see. Don't know. But yeah, like you said, that's a problem for a lot of countries all over the world. So what are some of the restrictions or people who are prohibited from donating blood in Japan? And it is different from like the US. I feel like the US, it's like basically, are you healthy? Like, do you feel well when you are donating blood? Like, and like they will ask if they'll ask if you're on medication.
I'm bleeding.
Yeah, right.
But otherwise I feel fine.
Right. Well, that's okay. That's all right. we want that.
My arm hurts.
Yeah, right. And a lot of the times there'll be restrictions on like where have you traveled in the last couple of weeks and that sort of thing too. And there's a little bit of that. But so people who are restricted or prohibited from donating blood in Japan, if somebody who has entered Japan within the last 4 weeks, somebody who's had a body piercing within the last month, or a tattoo within the last 6 months. If someone who's...
God, they hate tattoos.
I mean, 6 months isn't too bad, though. I was thinking, I thought about that. There are some other ones I think we can talk about. But yeah, not great. But somebody who's pregnant or breastfeeding can't donate. Somebody who's used narcotics, stimulants, or other illegal drugs within the past 6 months. Somebody who's ever received a blood transfusion, tissue transplant, human growth hormones, or placenta extract. Somebody who's diagnosed with AIDS, HIV.
What if you eat the placenta? You're like,
know.
What can Gwyneth Paltrow do it?
Great question. I mean, if she lies on her interview and doesn't mention that.
Yeah, no, not been out of the country. Oh, one sec.
Oh my God.
Oh, I wish you'd asked me that just a few seconds earlier.
That's so gross. Oh my gosh.
You can't make any of this up.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, please continue.
No, it's okay.
Obviously, HIV. Bad.
Right. AIDS or HIV, syphilis, hepatitis C, or Chagas disease.
Yeah.
Anyone who has had sexual contact with a new or anonymous partner in the last 6 months.
You have to imagine a lot of these questions. People aren't just like, if you're ever at like waiting in line to get blood and somebody just stands up and just walks directly out. Oh, question 18. Question 18. Right? Like if you're, because you're not getting money. It would be one thing if you're getting money for this. Then all the answers would be lies. But you're just doing this out of kindness of your heart. But just because you like blew a J, that's what they say, right?
Sure.
Last week, doesn't mean you're going to like not give your blood, right?
Right.
Or if you met a special somewhere.
Right.
You're like, oh, so well, I guess I'll have to keep all this delicious blood for myself.
I know. I mean, it's...
Right?
Yes.
Are these questions ever answered, honestly?
Great question. Although I feel like a lot of people in Japan, not everybody, but I feel like a lot of people in Japan are very like, I must follow the rules, you know?
That's true.
And so there is that, you know?
Okay. A lot of people standing up, just heading right out.
Oh, yeah, right. And then any man who has had sexual contact with another man in the last 6 months. This one I find to be homophobic.
That still appears on a lot of things.
I mean, I saw somebody mention online, like, well, it looks like, lesbians are in the clear. But it's still like, I don't understand. Because, like, unless if you are a gay man,
what about
you can't donate unless you, according to this, if you follow the rules, unless you go 6 months without having sex.
What about what if a lesbian couple comes in and they love piercings and tattoos. They're IV drug users, blood sisters, and they're into blood play.
Well, probably.
That's fine.
Probably. I mean, blood sisters, like giving each other tattoos and pierce. I mean, you're calling a couple of different things here, but I don't know. That's a great question. But you could think of it this way. I guess Haruka and Michiru could donate.
Haruka's definitely had a blood transfusion.
You think?
Oh, she's smashed that bike up before. You don't get out. I know she's good,
true.
but you don't get out there and not, go into a wall or off a mogul into the woods. if you're a trail rider, right?
Yeah, she's done some pretty crazy things, and that's just what we've seen. So yeah, I guess I could believe that. So that disqualifies her then too.
I'm going to commission a what if you're the partner of somebody who has received a blood transfusion?
No,
I hope that they know the flow chart.
Yeah, right.
Now post HIV crisis. I want somebody. If I could draw, I would draw it, but maybe I'll commission somebody to do. I want to see a picture of Haruka, coming out of like a NASCAR wreck.
Okay.
Not to celebrate wrecks. I know that they're very dangerous, but in a fire suit, and she's like kind of partially on fire, but she's just like.
Just
or maybe she's carrying another driver. There you go. We'll make her a hero.
Okay. All right. I like that even more. I think that sounds good. In 2020, the total number of blood donors in Japan was around 5 million people. Out of the donors, about 64.6% donated 400 milliliters of whole blood. 32.9% made plasma or platelet donations, and the remaining 2.5% donated 200 milliliters blood. And I think that is down from what it normally is because of COVID. And the JRCS says that the rising aging population and declining birth rate are causing blood supplies to be more scarce. Also, a lot more elderly people need blood transfusions. So, and then they have, the age limit, the age cutoff, like you are so many years old, now you can't donate blood anymore. So for a really long time, they had a lot of these campaigns about young people donating blood and stuff like that, and trying to get young people to get in the habit of doing that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Regular basis.
Yeah.
When you donate blood in Japan, you will be given a points card. And this is just your this is your donation card that you're given when you first donate, and the points start being tracked when you register the card online. And after you donate a couple of times, you will get more points and will be able to trade your card in for bonus gifts like a small towel. And Japan likes giving gifts, so sometimes you'll get like a small gift when you first donate blood. Sometimes it's like a towel, a hand towel, or like laundry detergent, just like a little thing of laundry detergent. But it's just like, here's something.
Here are
free.
3 goldfish crackers.
Yeah, right, exactly. The point card also allows simple online appointments, reminders, tracking, and previous appointments. So something weird that happened in the spring of 2021, Japan approved guidelines for accepting blood donations from individuals who received COVID-19 vaccines. And the guidelines are meant to give donors time to get over any possible side effects from a vaccine before donating, because you're not supposed to be feeling ill when you donate blood.
Yeah.
Without providing context, a social media post in 2021 misleadingly claimed that Japan was refusing blood donations for people who were vaccinated, when the guidelines ask that, quote, people not donate blood within only 48 hours after vaccination for COVID-19. So that kind of went sideways.
Yeah.
And then just a fun little thing at the end, because it's also Japan, besides the points card and the gift, each prefecture in Japan has its very own regional blood donation mascot. And it's their own version of Kenketsu-chan. Kenketsu means blood donation. And it's this little creature that kind of looks like a rabbit, and its ears look like 2 little... They're red and the rest of it is white. And so the ears kind of look like 2 little red blood drops.
What?
Of blood.
No.
Like the little raindrop, except it's red.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've taken your love of mascots too far. Why not have a cookie? Why not a cookie?
Well, maybe Kanketsu-chan will be
Mascots
eating
always
a cookie.
want to be eaten. You got a chicken restaurant, it's got a chicken mascot.
You're right.
What? Why? It's like, hey, what's up?
I know.
I'm delicious.
I know.
This is like a Ben Stiller bit, isn't it? Or something.
It sounds familiar. I can't place it, but
It's
yeah.
an old sketch show, but it's like, yeah, roast my flesh. I'm delicious.
But it's true. And it's like, oh my gosh, or like the cereal mascots, they always want to eat the cereal, but they hardly ever get to eat the cereal themselves.
Well, are you just riffing off on your own
Yeah.
on your own bit here?
Yeah.
We're doing my bit.
I'm sorry.
How about the mascots?
All right. I was talking about the mascots on the cereal.
So a cookie is now the mascot of blood donation, and he got.
I see what you're saying.
He got. What did you think we were saying before? He got. Hey, so I lost my job with the craft, but now I'm working here. You know, guys got to get eaten some way.
That's so weird.
So he just got.
so
he
weird.
switched to another brand where he can still get eaten because this is what he desires.
No. Okay.
It's like the thing in the restaurant at the end of the universe, the second book of the Hitchhiker's Guide trilogy, which has 5 books in it,
Right.
6 if you count the new bad one. And they genetically engineer cows to be both intelligent and to want to be eaten.
It's disturbing.
So they have. Would you like to see the steaks? Sure. Okay. And then the cow comes out and it's like, oh, well, would you like some of my rump? It's very it's very plump.
No.
What about a little side or the loin, perhaps? Ooh.
That's so disturbing. Just an anthropomorphic,
Yeah.
like,
guess-
this is like this part of the. Do you want to eat this part
We'll
of
have
me?
the sirloin. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, all right, wonderful. Okay. The cow just goes back into the kitchen.
Excellent choice.
You hear a shotgun.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating, Ichitakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat during this episode? As if we could talk about eating after that transition. But when Usagi talks about having her heart crystal stolen, she says that it was as bad, as you said, as bad as trying to drink a whole bottle of water at once, plus eating about 10 rice balls on top of that, which I can just imagine would just sit in your stomach like a lead ball.
It's a thing where you don't feed. They say don't feed or don't do rice at weddings anymore, right?
Oh, right.
Because the pigeons will eat the rice and rice expands and then like they'll die
bad
or
for
it'll
them.
hurt them. Yeah,
Yeah.
when they blow up in their stomachs.
Yeah.
But Usagi's just like 10 rice balls. Thirsty. The entire bottle of water.
I know. And then we see Minako drinking a juice box, which she presumably got from one of the blood drives when she was walking right up to another. And, of course, Mamo brings up a good point, but besides watching out for her, we should make sure that she eats enough and drinks enough while she is just getting all of this blood taken from her.
He's used to the shenanigans at this point. And I think he's realized that he can't hold the shenanigans back. And so he's just going to try to mitigate the damage the shenanigans might cause. And so immediately he's like, okay, second tier. Let's just make sure that like she doesn't, turn clear when they take all this blood out of her.
Right.
Get her some food.
Exactly. And I love that Usagi is like, okay, all right, here we go. And then just brings Minako all the vitamin C and the vitamin A supplements. And and we just see Minako chugging vitamin C.
Would those be... have we talked about like energy drinks before? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be like some, Pocari Sweat Extra or something like that? Or
so
their version of 5-hour energy?
It's like an energy drink, but and this is actually it's in a brown bottle with a label, and yes, okay, I'm looking at what I think it actually is.
Beer.
Here, no,
Beer is brown.
I know, but I think it's supposed to be kind of like Oromin C, which it's got this glass. It's this glass bottle, and it's like super intense. And
intense enough for Jack Bauer.
Right. Yeah, probably. I don't know if he'd like it, but he'd say he does because it would be unmanly not to.
But is there like a calorie mate, like energy drink version? It's like, it's got all the vitamins I need to get the terrorists.
I'm sure that, yes. I mean, actually, I don't know if
Why is
Calorie
this
Mate...
subway car full of schoolgirls?
Yeah. Right. Calorie Mate makes bars. I don't know if they have a drink.
Oh,
I'm sure they have to have a drink.
Watched Jack Bauer drink something that says Calorie Mate on the side.
Okay, all right. Then, yeah. But it doesn't taste very good. It's got a kind of
like vitamins, probably.
Yeah, but it kind of like tastes medicine-y. Yeah. Like it's supposed to be good for you, but not delicious. Not in a delicious sort of way. So
like chocolate cake.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Feeling engaged, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The daimon on this episode is named Donabuda. And again, we have an actual Japanese word, doanabu, or doorknob, with the Japanese copula da at the end of it. So her name essentially means it's a doorknob. So, not a whole lot of mystery there, but It's fun.
Yeah.
It is what she says. She says she is on the tin. So.
Yeah. Speaking of expressions from the UK, a knobber or a noba is not something that you would want to just call somebody casually. They might not enjoy that.
Huh. All right. Interesting.
And if you're somebody who knobs doors, well, we got a problem. We got a problem.
All right. I mean, it doesn't sound very good. So yeah. Her design, it's intense, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. Like she has light pale skin, and she's got pointy ears, and she's wearing a ton of makeup. Just like there's just rouge all over her cheeks.
But it's almost like slashes, like war paint or like a football player puts the grease under his eyes, kind of.
Yeah, and that actually kind of makes sense now that you say that.
Is her hair or a hat?
Great question that I'm not entirely sure.
If she had pigtails, but she doesn't, she would be Wendy. But she's like Wendy without the pigtails. And we always know that Wendy's hair looks like that on top. I'm talking about the traditional Dave's Wendy. Oh, yeah. On the Wendy side.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Not whatever's going on the internet with Wendy these days. Do not Google Wendy. Not a safe Google. It would be pulled together into braids, So
sure.
It's coming into like rows almost, not like cornrows, but like
a French braid.
Like Norman Osborn. Like Ditko's and Ramita's Norman Osborn, where it's like, why is his head ribbed? And the reason it is that way is because he's a man with like wavy hair, but he's using Vitalis or whatever or pomade or whatever to.
Just
it's from the 60s.
Yeah.
They still draw it that way today because it's traditional, but like it's a look that you can only get. My grandfather had that. My grandfather had very wavy hair, and he used some kind of Vitalis or formula or whatever, and so it can't pull it totally straight,
right?
Like you want it, like Bela Lugosi or whatever you're doing,
right. I think the way I look at it, I guess a creative way of looking at it, is it kind of looks like she has kind of like two little buns, but on the bottom of her head that look like doorknobs, but they could also just be covered hair. So kind of like...
So that's it is. It's Wendy, only she's got buns instead of...
braids.
Shouldn't Wendy have buns?
Yeah, right. Buns from a burger place.
Do not Google this.
No.
Do not Google this.
No.
Right, like that's... Why does she have braids? You're just ripping off Pippi Longstocking.
She looks very Pippi.
She's
Pippi.
The lady that wrote Pippi Longstocking's got to be like, what the hell?
Well... My girl with red hair has like wire through her braids, so clearly it's fine. I don't know.
My girl is a maniac.
Yes, right.
Isn't Pippi Longstocking always like setting things on fire?
Yeah, I love Pippi.
She's an agent of chaos.
Yeah, she is.
I want to do a Pippi Longstocking where you put the Joker makeup on her and she's like, one little monkey gets loose and everybody loses their minds.
I'd watch that.
Right, anyway.
I'm a big Pippi Longstocking stan.
Move
Anyways,
on. Move on.
So I think it's like her hair is like buns that are covered, kind of like Chun-Li in Street Fighter.
Yes.
Except it's at the bottom of her head and not on the top of her head.
Yeah.
That's how I choose to look at it.
I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the Odango buns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or what was it again? It's like Neo-Jiaoto. We did this almost.
Yeah, I tried looking it up and I couldn't.
Neo-Jiaoto or whatever.
I couldn't find it. I believe you.
Is the Chinese version of the Odango.
Yes. Which is, I think, where it kind of like by and large
it came from there first. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's got red hair and she's got her covered buns are bright green, and then she's got a doorknob at the top of her forehead, which is silver. Her outfit, she's wearing a navy, very intense knee-high boots, with a matching navy halter top, that has armored shoulder pads with spikes on them, and navy short shorts with a red belt. And the lower part of her left arm is kind of like a blue Swiss Army knife that also looks like
Is it the left
keys?
or the right? That's her right arm. She's got the shield in her left arm. For the door.
Oh, did I have her arms mixed up? Anyways, sorry. I thought I had the correct arms. Anyways, and then the bolted door, is that a shield that she's holding, or is that attached to her arm?
That's a great
see the back of
question.
her arm.
Yeah, if you throw her a can of Coke.
Yeah. Can she catch it?
No, she just blocks it.
Yeah. But she'd have to drop the shield, right?
I don't know if she can. I don't think she can.
I don't think she has a hand.
When she goes out, she's still on her arm when she lovelies. So
yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think that somebody has to put her zipper pants up for her.
Her short shorts and like lace her very long boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, and she's got some great lines, which I mean, obviously the reluctantly is pretty dang great. And then she's a lot of fun because she's unexpected. That's kind of what I think. And we're up to our rating. I feel like she has a great entrance. She comes across very strong contrast to like her cowering later, like you were saying with like the war paint. Like she's kind of like in this warrior stance with her shield and her Swiss Army key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's one of the first or one of the only Yoma that come out looking like they've got implements for war.
Yeah.
Unlike just, something comes out of their butt or something like that.
Right.
Or they throw tea at you. Yeah. And then she's like, oh no, I don't. I'm a locksmith. I
don't do any of that.
So,
I know.
No, these are tools of my trade.
I know. I love it.
How dare you?
And I think that they did actually get pretty creative with their overall design. And Doorknob reluctantly is great. And I love her reaction to Neptune's deep submerge. Like she's just like underwater, and she obviously cannot swim. So that's pretty great. And then she just throws Eudial underneath the bus, and she's like, you attack her first, So yeah, I think she's pretty strong. I'm going to give her 4 out of 5 dark stars.
Okay. I'm going to go 3.
Really?
Well, 3 is, right down the line.
Okay.
3 is solid as Sears, where you can buy the door and knobs and implements. And she, she's, I like a lot of her. I actually don't think that her, I don't think that her design, I guess I know what they were doing with their design, but it doesn't go far enough.
Okay.
Because they think like, all right, so she's a lock person or a lock and a door chain. So locks and chains, punk, right? Mm-hmm. So she's kind of punk. Like she's got leather hot pants because she's a lady, first of all.
Right.
And she's got like a leather vest. But I think they could have gone like farther into the kind of punk look, the punk aesthetic. And they don't really get far enough for me. And they just end up with a lady who just showed up with, leather or vinyl hot pants and a vest. So it doesn't, it's sort of caught between that and the utility of her things. Now, I love it when they stick like her just holding a door or her forearm is a door.
Yeah.
Is fun, is interesting. But it's like it's caught between that and this other sort of more fashion aesthetic. And I don't think it fills enough either of those bars for me.
Okay.
But it's kind of interesting. She's got a ton of personality, which I always like.
Yes.
I love the Yoma who is, I have a job description and this does not fall within it. But she's like, okay, I'll do it. And then who knew that they could like turn on their summoners at the end? She's like, actually, no, kill her.
Yeah.
And then she dies somehow. And it's not her fault. She doesn't want to die. Yeah. But it is part of her aspect. Mm-hmm. How did she die? She was just caught in the resulting explosion?
So I was watching it. When I was watching it, I get through again. Eudial's her fire hits Sailor Moon's power straight on, but then
I know where you're going, man.
But then it veers off somehow.
No, it doesn't.
It turns. No, I saw it.
Yeah, I don't really think so.
No, I saw it turn.
Well, then she should be on fire and saying lovely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to get a lovely out of it because that's what they do, and this is where the adherence to the formula hurts them, I think. Mm-hmm. There's no problem. You know, you see this on the live action show all the time where Usagi's got something else that she's doing. Like she's involved in something else. And then the other sailors just like, you know, roast a Yoma to death.
Right.
Because who cares? Like the point is we're a squad that takes these things out. And so, you know, creating this interesting situation where they're breaking a lot of rules in this episode. Everybody's identities are learned. Yeah. Minako apparently can never be defeated. Minako cannot die. The Yoma doesn't want to fight. They're doing all these things, and then right at the end, they veer back into no. Here's the formula. She gets hit somehow, and she goes lovely. She gets the heart attack.
I know.
And so, and I know what you're saying,
agree.
but I didn't feel like that was really strong enough to.
It wasn't very
me
strong.
That was happening. If this would be a lot of animation, but they could do it. If Eudial was kind of losing the Dragon Ball Kamehameha fight with the spiral heart attack, and she deflected it into her Yoma, you know, because it was getting too close to her to sort of save herself, I'd be on board with your interpretation.
Okay.
But such as it is, it's like it's a little sloppy. It's not as good as this show should be and is generally.
I would agree with that.
So yeah, I know. And then again, why does it all go on her? Well, I don't know where else to put it. So I'll give it a 3.
What if like instead they had Neptune attack Eudial's fire gun and then puts the fire out, and then she's like, now Sailor Moon, and then Sailor Moon turns and
what a quick and easy fix.
Yeah.
That I wish they'd employed.
Yes, me too. Use those water powers more. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Farewell, My Lovely, where we talk about the way they go out. So she cowers and freaks out, but her boss kicks her over so she can fetch her weapon. So it's not like she's like, out of the way, you're going to get hit. She's like, out of my way, I need to get my weapon.
Yeah.
And blast Sailor Moon. Eudial aims her fire buster at Sailor Moon, and the fire meets Sailor Moon's spiral heart attack, and it's Sailor Moon's attack veers off and hits the cowering Dora Nabura hiding behind her door shield. She is shocked when she's hit, and her body flails as she says lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she's still somehow shocked. And I'm gonna give it a 4 because it gave me a laugh. But it's maybe not necessarily the best lovely.
Okay.
But.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right.
This was a solid lovely.
I completely understand.
And that's all I got.
Why you gave it a 3. That is fine.
It's got some of the splash of, speaking of attacks spilling over onto things, the FML is going to get taken down because of the same things I said about the villain, the criticisms.
Yeah.
So I have 3 across the board.
All right. Sounds good. And now we're up to our rating. I think this is an excellent Minako episode overall, and just honestly a really great episode. She's so sad at the idea that she might not have a pure heart, but there's parts where she is like super obsessed with it are just played for laughs. Like, I feel like most of this episode is played for laughs. After we get that sad moment of her on like the swings, it's just like pretty much laughs after that. And I absolutely love that Minako interrupts Haruka and Michiru's theme music and then the rose petals. That was such a great moment.
Yeah.
And then just to give him the dolls is great. I love the sequence right after Minako's heart crystal is extracted. It's just so unexpected for her to grab her own heart crystal, and just like the slasher horror music. And then like just like also the creepy noises that she's making. She's like, it's just like, oh my God, she is not okay. And her being very excited that it's a pure heart is fantastic. And yeah, Usagi's reaction to that, great. And I love that Venus awakens quickly and attacks Eudial with the crane game prizes, and then transforms. And we finally get the reveal that Michiru and Haruka are Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus, which is awesome. So I really enjoy this episode. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 roses.
I am going to give this episode 5 out of 5 roses, despite the fact that I've only given, faint damning praise to it so far. But I agree. I mean, I'm biased. I always love a Minako episode. I love one where she is as unhinged as she is in this.
Yeah.
And I think, as I pointed out earlier, I won't belabor the point, but I think that it is a fun answer to the more serious episode that we had not so long ago with her contemplating her future. And so this is so do you know what garbage time is? It's garbage time.
Oh my God, I think you're going to tell me.
It's not an Oscar the Grouch thing, although that'd be great. And it's not garbage day either. But it's like in usually in like collegiate sports, when you're up, it's the fourth quarter, or maybe even third quarter, and you're just up by 1 million, and now you're going to give all the second, third, fourth stringers a chance to get out there.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to put any numbers on the board. It's fine. You're just getting people hours on the field, right?
Sure.
And so it's garbage time. It doesn't matter.
All right.
And it was definitely, if you heard the part where we talked about the Subaru W, it was definitely garbage time for some of the English translators of this episode.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like a garbage time mindset, I think. Mm-hmm. Because I think big things are coming. And so because this is the last episode before something really big happens, we can do whatever we want. And what we ended up doing was Minako running around Tokyo holding her own heart. Being like, and I just think that is creative. It's the kind of heights or depths that the show can reach if you give it a chance. Mm-hmm. And completely charming. Almost everybody's involved. Again, glaring absence of Chibi.
Yes.
But I don't even know what she would do in this situation.
I don't either.
You don't want her trapped in that garage with the rest of them.
No.
So, but yeah, just firing on all cylinders. Little misstep, little trip with the Yoma, perhaps, with the demon. But yeah, got to give it a 5-star. A wobble, but still stuck the landing.
My English title is Notice Me, Deathbusters, Pure Heart Tenacity.
Notice Me, Deathbusters?
So to notice me, senpai?
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, my me title is If You Want Blood, Minako's Got It.
Okay.
AC/DC.
All right.
If you want blood, Minako's got it.
Next episode, we are talking about episode 110, Uranasu Tachi no Shi, Talisman Shutsugen in Japanese. The death of Uranus and Neptune. The talismans appear. The English translation and the English title, Destiny's Arrival.
I was, just completely underplayed as per usual. I speak enough Japanese that I was already reacting while you were speaking in Japanese. I was like, oh, no she. Well, big things are coming.
Yeah.
Well, I'm then doubling down on Michiru being one of the pure hearts.
Okay.
And I suppose at this point it seems like maybe we'll slip the Uranus in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. They should have looked inside their own chests. while they were in there. All right, so big episode next time up.
Yes, definitely a big one. They made you wait a little bit past the halfway point, and then they just are just going to slam it on us.
A roller coaster to the end.
Yeah.
Unless Chibi wants to take finger painting classes or something like that. We want to slow it down again. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Who does she have a crush on now?
It's a good thing that Minako didn't, like, a organ donation car didn't drive by.
Oh, yeah. No kidding, right? It's just the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
So incredibly strong.
I have 2 kidneys.
Just take one. Just take it.
How many, if you take 2 kidneys, how many do you have left?
No.
Yeah, she's got a 2 of a lot of things. Here's what we've got. We've got a Discord. We've got a Facebook. We've got an Instagram. And we've got a Twitter box as well. And you can find us on all of those at Sailor Noob or Noob_Sailor. There's a link to our Discord in the show notes. And what we're doing there is we're just talking about Sailor Noob. Talking about nerdy stuff, having a good time, and chatting about all the things that make us happy.
Yes,
that's the good that I try to do in the world. I don't give anybody blood. You can't have my blood. I need my blood.
It's my blood.
Yeah. No, I give blood. But
yes.
But we talk about the fun things in our lives on those outlets. So please join us there. We would love to see you.
Well, that's our show for this week. And the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
It's garbage time.